You know. This is an emergency broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is emergency. I just saw this not even an hour ago. Folks, if you don't know a subject, it's best in life that you sit down, be quiet, and learn about it. This is what life is. Life is all about learning. We learn every day. From the first breath we take in life to the last one we take in life. We are constantly learning. We're constantly evolving. Now I get it. Social media has enabled a lot of people to talk about things that they don't have a clue on what the subject matter is and the subtle nuances. I get that. I so get that. But we also, as human beings, should understand that at that point, we have to lend our ears and our eyes and our hearts, for some of you, to those who have been in the trenches, those who have been putting in the work, and get more acclimated with a subject matter. I'm an anime fan. I don't know everything about anime. That's why I don't talk about anime in a room full of people unless I know about the subject. Same thing with sports. I'm a very avid sports fan, but I don't know everything about it, especially what happened back in the day. So I lend myself to those who understand that. Now, when it comes to the subject of reparations, I'm what you would consider somebody of an intermediate level. I know the ins and outs of it, but in the grand scheme of things, this is not my area of expertise. So I'd rather listen to people who've been in the trenches because I have to go after CARICOM very soon. And I need to know everything I can so I can be knowledgeable about the subject. Family, y'all see the thumbnail, but we have to start at the beginning because this was not the initial tweet. This is the tweet that inspired the show, but this was not the initial tweet. We have to talk. So here we go. Tabernacle. I will zoom it in because y'all can't see that. And I don't want y'all straining y'all eyes. So came across the tweet that you saw on the thumbnail, but I just looked at this tweet. This is the tweet that started it off. So it's from Caledon Free on Twitter. Now, he says he's a Christian, a conservative, a husband, father, and we already know where the first red flag is. He said, hashtag DeSantis 2024. We're going to have fun with this. But okay. You're allowed to voice who you like. That's cool. I shall send him some Atorian's videos on DeSatan. We shall do this. And Professor Black Truth. Maybe he'll learn something. So he wrote, I no longer feel the need to be neutral on the topic of reparations when much of the conversation around the topic has turned into insulting first and second generation Americans. So already off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, he told on himself. He just admitted that he was a first or second generation immigrant. Because if you were someone whose lineage is here, you would never bring that up. So he told on himself. So we might have in our midst what y'all like to call a tether. Okay. Allegedly. So then he wrote, I'm not emotional about the topic. It's an unconstitutional fairy tale that will never happen nationwide. Still, I strongly oppose any movement that strongly opposes me. Okay. Well, sir, you're going to have FBA on your trail. But I'm going to start off the race because this is what we do over here at Beyond Borders Media. We do this research. So we go down the list a little bit. So I don't know if you're in Twitter spaces like that. Alexis is usually in there. She hosted a space with the dude. And let's see how his space did. I believe it's here. Yes, here it is right here. He did a space. Reparations is an unconstitutional fairy tale. Prove me wrong. 30 people tuned in. Okay, not bad. He did this 10 hours ago. He did it late at night. So, okay, that's fine. But here's the tweet that inspired the show. Because, who is this? Sean Renee B wrote, why do you believe it's unconstitutional? So he said, additionally, I'm sorry. Here we go. For starters, reparations violates the Equal Protection Clause. The government can't give money simply based on race. I want y'all to remember that statement. Additionally, Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution states, no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. Because, of course, this guy believes that the American government always follows the law. Brother Torian Ring, good morning. You'll love this show, sir. You will love this show. So we continue. Ex post facto. You can't pass a law that punishes for things that were lawful before the law was passed. Bill of attainder. Quote, a bill of attainder is an act which subjects a class of persons, in this case, descendants of slave owners, to punishment. In this case, a tax penalty without judicial trial. Which means, he said, subjects a class of persons to punishment, in this case, a tax penalty without judicial trial. Right. I want to see if somebody picks up on what I just said and what he just said. Because again, they still don't understand what the problem is. This is why I said before, if you don't know a subject, sit down and be quiet. But okay, so we've already established that he's a black conservative. He's down with DeSantis, and he really does not understand what reparations is. And the subject matter is. I encourage him to go to Beatzilla and Black Alpha's Twitter space today and sit down and learn something. I'm going to warn you now, brother, because I will send you the link. If you go in there and go on that stage and you get to talking like you talking in this tweet, I feel sorry for you because you're going to get schooled. Especially if they talk about reparations. You go in there with this mess, it might not end for you. It might not end well. But okay. You said, sir, let's focus on your first statement. For starters, reparations violates the Equal Protection Clause. The government can't give money simply based on race. Are you sure about that? Yes, Torian, he is down with the snowflake. Yes, he is. Sir, are you sure about that? You must be in Florida. Are you sure about that? We're going to leave your tweet. Again, if you don't know a subject, sit down, be quiet, and learn. Tabernacle. Is he really sure that the government does not give out money to people based on race? Tabernacle. What did I find? September 27, 2016, on NPR's website. U.S. government to pay $492 million to 17 American Indian tribes. Now, people like him are going to tell me that a settlement is not reparations. I'm sure they're going to tell me that. Well, again, these are what I like to call title watchers. They read titles and don't go delve into it. They actually told on themselves in this article. I'm going to show you the loophole. I'm going to show you the loophole. But before we begin, this is for all the coons out there and the Black conservatives that love to talk about reparations in a negative light.
There you have it. Next morning, and I got a pretty nice sized coon in this trap. This is the trap that I set right on the smack dab in the middle of the trail.
That's right. That's right. Reef the Watcher, good morning. Oh, you're going to love this. You're listening in, you're going to love this. So again, we're on NPR's website in this article by Rebecca Hersher, who talked about the American Indian tribes getting $492 million. The U.S. government has agreed to pay a total of $492 million to 17 American Indian tribes for mismanaging natural resources. And here's where the reparations comes in. Other tribal assets, which, by the way, are on the books as legislation. Mr. Callan free. According to an attorney who filed most of the suits. In a joint press release by the Departments of Interior and Justice, Secretary of the Interior Sally Jewell said, settling these long-standing disputes reflects the Obama administration's continued commitment to reconciliation and empowerment for Indian country. Sir, what did that say again? Settling these long-standing disputes reflects the Obama administration's continued commitment to reconciliation and empowerment for Indian country. So they settled a dispute. Yet Black American descendants of child slavery have been telling y'all for years and decades and centuries. Reparative justice. This is a long-standing dispute between Black people and the U.S. government. But y'all want to ignore that. But when it comes to them Indian folk, y'all want to give them money and legislation. Excuse me. The settlements mark the end of a push by the Obama administration to resolve what the U.S. says is more than 100 lawsuits totaling more than $3.3 billion brought by American Indian individuals and tribal governments against the federal government. The policy of reaching settlements on the disputes, some of which date back more than a century, is part of a campaign promise the president made to American Indians before he took office. Quote, few have been ignored by Washington as long as Native Americans, the first Americans. You hear him. Too often, Washington has paid lip service to working with tribes, then candidate Obama said in his speech at the Crow Nation Reservation in Montana in May 2008. My Indian policy starts with honoring the unique government to government relationship and ensuring treaty responsibilities are met. I'm just saying. Sounds like a framework to me that we could use to get y'all some reparative justice. But Brother Torians say. This reminds me of a video I saw on Twitter yesterday of a small town College Park, Georgia that was purchased and black on this Twitter page claimed that it is return of segregation, but towns like Chinatown and Little Italy exist. Yes, I seen that video circulate around. It was a beautiful video. I actually passed by there the other day. It's actually looking really nice. But watch when it's all black families in there and they start yelling that this is wrong. Hey, Brother Torian, you got one up there in Maryland too. It's an all black neighborhood with gated communities. I'm surprised white folk didn't say nothing about that. That's right. They can't get on the property. That's right. I hope those people in College Park put a nice gate there. That's what they need. Because it seems only white supremacists, that's the one thing they respect is gates. I said that facetiously, of course. Those treaty responsibilities include agreements dating back to the 1800s. I want y'all to remember that too. That made the U.S. government the trustee for huge swaths of tribal land. That first sentence, I want y'all to remember that. The Department of the Interior says it manages almost 56 million acres of land on behalf of tribes and handles at least 100,000 leases on that land for a wide variety of uses, including housing, timber harvest, farming, livestock grazing, oil and gas extraction. More than 250 tribes have some assets held in trust by the federal government. Under those trust agreements, the U.S. government must make sure tribes receive just compensation for the use of their land or resources. Quote, the government bought the land from Indians, but it didn't pay the Indians, said Melanie McCoy, a staff attorney with the Native American Rights Fund, who has spent 20 years handling lawsuits against the federal government over alleged trust mismanagement and underpayment. The U.S. government would say it held the assets in trust benevolently for the protection of Indian lands and money, says McCoy, who handled 13 of the 17 newly announced settlements. The flip side of that is that in exchange, the government was supposed to be a good trustee, and it wasn't. Land was not managed well. Money and resources were not managed well. The result was decades of allegedly lost income for Native Americans across the country. Kind of like what y'all did with Black Wall Streets, right? Kind of like what y'all did with that, right? When the U.S. government used to bomb whole black neighborhoods, right? Before the Obama administration could turn to the business of settling the 100+ lawsuits by tribes, they had to resolve a 13-year class action lawsuit alleging the government failed to pay individual people billions of dollars in profits from land that had been seized from American Indians. A $3.4 billion deal was reached in 2009. The tribal lawsuits proved more difficult to settle because they often concerned payments that tribes allegedly should have been made over the course of decades. There you go. Caledon Free, there you go. There you go. This is why reparations is needed, sir. This one sentence right here. The white woman got it. How your black ass ain't get it? How did she get it, but you don't get it? But you got it. There was substantial litigation risk and problems to both sides which drove both sides to the bargaining table, McCoy said. By 2012, the administration had reached settlements with dozens of tribes. The settlements announced Monday are the second round of agreements. McCoy says that since Obama took office, there have been 95 total settlements with tribes, and now 11 more, some of which she handles, are in active negotiation. It's quite an accomplishment, she said. And here's one of them. Colorado River Joint Stipulation of Settlement on September 26, 2016. 23 pages, and they got paid off. Blueberry Muffin, good morning. So there's your first proof, Mr. Callanan Free. There's your first proof. It's amazing how the white media gets it, but they won't advocate for it. But it's amazing that I'm watching you black conservatives sit up there and use the white media to make your talking points, well, technically white supremacist talking points, but you never read it. You never read it. So guess what white supremacy does when you guys do that?
There you have it. Next morning, and I got a pretty nice sized coon in this trap. This is the trap that I set right on the smack dab in the middle of the trail.
That's right. They trap you every time because they'll put out the information, you regurgitate it, and then you have to come see us. We're not going to go after them as hard as we're going to go after you because you should know better. So there's number one. Since you want to say that there's no such thing as the government paying out race-based reparations because the American government really follows their own laws. Sir, you said this, not us. The government can't give money simply based on race. Are you sure about that? Fam, what if I told you there's actually a law on the books? We'll get into that. How much would you believe me if I actually told you there's a law on the books? This might actually help the reparations argument. I don't know why people haven't used this. Tyler, I respect that you keep putting this information in there. I appreciate it. I would stop now before I put the hammer down and block you. You do this every time I have a live stream open, but you never put it on one of my uploads. Why is that? Don't let me put out the blueberry muffin signal. That's the one and only time I'm going to tell you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Back to what I was saying. Family, would you like to know that there is actually, yes, it is considered law. It's an act. It's considered law. Hey, Caledon Free, come here, sir. Come here. Because again, you Negroes do no research. None. But y'all want to talk and tell people that, oh, I can't sit neutral anymore because it's because all these people are doing are just going after first and second generation immigrants because the first and generation immigrants keep talking. They know nothing and they keep talking. Why should white supremacy talk and go defend their positions in front of black folks who are on code when they have lapdogs like y'all to do it? Which is why we don't feel bad when white supremacy comes and breaks y'all. We don't feel bad. As Brother Torian says, we feel nothing. And as Black Light Revelations always says, the world is correct. Stay out of things that you don't understand. That's why Neely Fuller Jr. always says, if you do not understand white supremacy, everything else that you understand will confuse you. Family, did you know a particular group of people got paid off for reparations? Did you know this? I bet you some of y'all did, but most of y'all didn't. What did Brother Torian say? They use the talking points that white supremacy uses. They get their talking points from people who have claim to what's ours, just consistent stupidity. Yes, very consistent. But guess what? Again, they do no research. They does no research. Tabernacle. What did I find? Look at this. The Civil Liberties Act of 1988. It's just so beautiful. It's just, hey, Coons, come here, Coons. Well, technically, you told on yourself, Mr. Callan Free. You said you were first and second generation immigrant. So, as someone who's the son of immigrants, we're going to say it in the language that we understand.
Run to you niggas. Run.
Because I did ask you to come on the show, and I guess you're not going to come. So this is going to be a teaching moment and a roast. Because again, y'all do no research, but y'all swear up and down y'all wanna be experts on the subject. You have to lend your voice to it. I shouldn't expect anything less from someone who follows Ron DeSantis. He's getting rid of books. Civil Liberties Act of 1988, ladies and gentlemen. Title 1, August 10th, 1988. 102nd statute, 904, 50A of the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm sorry, the United States Code, 1989, is a United States federal law. I'm going to make sure I highlight this. A United States federal law that granted reparations to Japanese Americans who had been wrongly interred by the United States government during World War II. Wait a minute, we got more. Wait, I messed up the highlight. We got more because my mouse sucks. And to, quote, discourage the occurrence of similar injustices and violations of civil liberties in the future. Somebody screenshot this. Send that to that man. I put his tweet in the description box. Send him that. Because unfortunately, you think this is a gotcha. No, sir. This happened before this. So the U.S. government still has to pay off. So before you try to say, oh, this is a gotcha, they don't have to pay reparations to black folks whose families were subjugated by white slave owners who, by the way, got paid off. This occurred after that. So they still are on the hook for that money. So don't try to play your conservative gotcha. Here we go. You're going to love this because you're a fan of DeSantis. You're going to love this. The act was sponsored by California Democratic Congressman and former internee Norman Mineta. We all know that name. Wyoming Republican Senator Alan K. Simpson, who had met Mineta while visiting an internment camp. He was greenhorning and he found his Cato. And California Senator Pete Wilson. The bill was supported by the majority of Democrats in Congress, while the majority of Republicans voted against it. The act was signed into law by President Ronald Reagan, who was a Republican. Funny how that worked. Funny how that worked. But I know what you're going to tell me, Calendar Free. I got it from this Wikipedia. You're going to tell me I'm not supposed to use that, right? I'm not supposed to use that, right? Wikipedia is not reliable, right? That's what you're going to tell me, right? Well, guess what? I'll do you a favor. Bam. I went on Britannica.com. They used to be an encyclopedia on paper. Now they're online. Go ahead and tell me I can't use this either. Please. Here we go. Executive Order 9066. They said it right here, sir. Look, let's go back up. Where is it? No, wait. That was something different. I'm sorry. Yeah, they got to use Executive Order 9066 to craft this for Japanese Americans. Here we go. An American promise. That's what it said. An American promise. Gerald Ford repealed Executive Order 9066. Look at this. Come here. Caledon, I want you up front. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Norman Netta, Blueberry Muffin. I'm just saying we should know him well. Caledon Free, I want yo tether ass right up front when I read this to you. Because I'm sure you have a problem with what's going on in California and then doing the reparations task force and the others that are subsequently coming on and are in session around the country. What does this say, sir? What does this say? I'm going to highlight it for you because you have glasses and you seem like you cannot see. A presidential commission in 1982 identified race prejudice, war hysteria, and a failure of political leadership as the underlying causes of the government's internment program. In 1988, the U.S. Congress passed the Civil Liberties Act, which awarded more than 80,000 Japanese Americans $20,000 each to compensate them for the ordeal they had suffered. Congress also issued a formal apology for the government's policy towards Japanese Americans. Come here. I hope you're still up front, and I hope you have a spiral notebook with a working pen to take these notes. Because again, I keep telling you, conservatives, if you don't know a subject, sit down, be quiet, and learn. You doing struggle spaces late at night because you didn't want to get flamed by us black folks, because that's usually the few hours we get to go sleep and rest up so we can go fight white supremacy the next day. Y'all swear up and down y'all are the most knowledgeable people around because you're around white folk, and white folk accept the fact that you are somewhat knowledgeable. Again, you must be living in Florida, so that says something about the Florida education system, sir. Especially with y'all's governor down there banning books, sir. Cyber 9100, thank you for the super chat. Use Cash App next time. I don't want to give them $6. Tyler Durham, COINTELPRO, Black Boule sellouts to white supremacy. Don't nobody know him. By the way, his Twitter check mark is paid for, so don't nobody know him. Yep, Torian, boom. Boom, boom, shake the room. Shout out to Will Smith. Blueberry Muffin said, too many African immigrants refuse to connect the dots with history. Their myopic views reveal their brainwashing experience. I don't think he's African. He might be Caribbean. Which is even worse because you're closer to America and you should know this. But again, they had satellite dishes on these islands and they only picked up a couple stations, and it's usually news stations. And you know how CBS and ABC and NBC were with the propaganda on black folks back in the 70s and 80s and the 90s. So, yeah. So, come back again. So, sir, let's do the math. 16 and 8 zeros. 16 and 8 zeros. Somebody do that math for me. 16 and 8 zeros. How much is that? Sounds like $1.6 billion to me. That's what it sounds like. So they got paid $1.6 billion. Sir. So the Japanese got $1.6 billion for setting in a camp that they shouldn't have been setting in. But black folks basically built this country and barely got anything for it. Except thank you. They weren't going to shake their hand because they're Negro and, go figure out life. That's what they got. I know you're probably going to tell me, well, some slave people got paid. Great. Most of them didn't. Those are who we're fighting for. Huh? Sir, come here. Get back up front. You can't go to the bathroom just yet. Can't go to the bathroom just yet. I know that's what you I know that's why you raised your hand. Guess what? Hey, Caledon Free, guess what? Would you like some more? Would you like some more? Because y'all don't listen.
Look, we just want the money. You guys walk away.
Tabernacle. Oh, we gonna go down this rabbit hole since these Negroes want to stop at the first floor. No, I tell a lie. They just want to poke their head in. At least the white woman, Alice, at least fell down the rabbit hole. You Negroes just put your head in the sand like a bunch of ostriches and think you know something. What does this say, family? Seattle Medium. I think Blueberry Muffin's up in Seattle. Let me see if she remembers this. The Seattle Medium, a message from the people to the people. Tuesday, March 14, 2023. This came out today. No, well, this article came out January 11th. Community leaders look to City of Seattle to convene Reparations Committee. This has quite the significance once I get to it. Larry Gossett, former chair of the King County Council. Over the years, the Seattle African American Reparation Committee, or SARC, has diligently worked to get reparations for the descendants of African American slaves living in the Puget Sound area. SARC is looking to work with the office of Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell to collaborate and build an understanding of what reparations could look like in Seattle and how they would be implemented. That's beautiful. But Bruce Harrell. Who's like to see Bruce Harrell one time? Bruce Harrell. Pioget. That's what y'all say? Pioget? Pioget? I thought it was Puget. Oh, it's Puget? Oh, it's Puget. Okay. Who would like to see? Well, Blueberry Muffin knows this, man. But let's show you Bruce Harrell. Let's show you Bruce Harrell one time. Let's show you this, man. That's Bruce Harrell. Oh, it is Puget. Okay. I was right. I was close. But yes, that's Bruce Harrell, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't look like your typical Japanese man now, does it? No. And there's a reason why I said Japanese, because he's Japanese. But he's also black. But you wouldn't think that, right? He is also black. His daddy black. There's a reason why I brought him up. Thank you, Blueberry Muffin. She said it. Bruce Harrell's mother was in them camps with his grandfather and his grandmother. That's right. His family got $60,000. And guess what the mama and the grandparents did with that money? Caledon Free. That's right. They built businesses in the Seattle area and gave that man a comfortable upbringing, even though his daddy wasn't around. Funny how that worked out. See what reparations can do? You see what reparations could do. This is $60,000 in the late 40s. Well, we have to go for inflation. They got it in the 80s. I'm sorry. They got it in the 80s. $60,000 in the 80s. That's right. Sent that brother to Washington, University of Washington, and he became Boule. How much you want to bet Bruce ain't going to be for this reparations committee? How much you want to bet? We wanted to start our movement here in Seattle, said Larry Gossett, former chair of the King County Council. We met with Mayor Harrell in 2022, and at the end of that meeting, the mayor was excited about making a commitment for reparations for Black people in Seattle. And the mayor stated, "I would love to work with you, so put together a request to me and we'll talk about it." Y'all heard what he just said. I would love to work with you, so put together a request to me and we'll talk about it. Does that not sound like Biden? We'll talk to you after the election to Brother Ice Cube. Now, Calendar Free, you may go to the bathroom before you piss on yourself. And while you're in there, you can think about why you do not talk about a subject that you have no clue about. Don't play with us on this. You really thought you did something by trying to tell us you can't sit idly by anymore on the subject of reparations. Don't nobody know you, sir. Nobody knows you. We don't see you in these rooms. We don't see you in these discussions on Twitter threads. You're probably in there with them white people that are talking against it and sitting there putting thumbs up and 100s in there. I'm sure you're probably doing that. But on this, you won't come down to the soil with us. You won't do it. Yes, that is Bruce speak for No Way in Hell. I'll see it, but we ain't gonna really talk. But if I do bring you in to talk, I'm gonna make sure it's not going anywhere. Why would this man enrich I'm sorry, Blueberry Muffin, I'm gonna have to say it. Why would Mayor Harrell help to lift a subjugated people in Seattle? Why would he do that? He's more concerned with the illegal immigration up there, helping them get over. Sark recently sent a letter to Harrell calling on the city of Seattle to review its own history. The correspondence asked that the city ascertain the extent to which economic and other forms of systemic racism and discrimination against the African American has taken place within the city of Seattle. The letter relays data that displays the economic disparities African Americans face in Seattle, and Sark is optimistic that the mayor will develop and convene, quote, a powerful committee to conduct a major study to catalog the most consistent harms resulting from the exclusion and systematic racism faced by African Americans and the institutions that serve them in Seattle. For example, Black churches. I kind of want to keep the churches out of this, but okay. Yeah. You're optimistic that he's really going to do this? You're sure about that? Are you sure about that? We are hopeful that he will be responsive to this effort, says Gossett, and we hope to meet with the mayor sometime by the end of January to begin a process to bring a commitment for restorative justice for Black people in Seattle. Funny thing, because I was looking this up, ladies and gentlemen, nothing moved. Nothing moved. I'm looking. Nothing moved. Do you realize that I put in Bruce Harrell reparations? The second link is the only one on the page. Funny thing though, family. Now, remember that article was January 14th, correct? I'm sorry, this became about Seattle. Tabernacle. January 20th, 6 days later. The good old days are gone. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell on reimagining downtown. He was speaking at the GeekWire Summit in Seattle in October. As his city tries to emerge from the pandemic, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell is thinking about how to revitalize downtown amid long-term changes in work habits that pull people away from the urban core. Rethinking the role of downtowns is the greatest opportunity for mayors across the country, said Harrell Wednesday at the Brookings Institution during a discussion with Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb, governing the post-pandemic city. Seattle is among a group of cities participating in meetings hosted by the Washington, D.C. based think tank to exchange ideas on re-envisioning the future of their downtown business districts, the New York Times noted last month. The pandemic affected downtown centers across the country. By the way, that's where most of y'all's Chinatowns are located, especially in New York. And some are still struggling with the rise of hybrid work policies and ongoing safety concerns, among other trends. A recent analysis from the University of California, Berkeley, and University of Toronto ranks Seattle number 27 in the list of 31 large cities measured by economic and social activity downtown compared to pre-pandemic levels. So San Diego right now is leading at 99%, then Baltimore, Columbus, Las Vegas, New York, Washington, Jacksonville, Fort Worth, Miami, San Antonio, San Jose, Los Angeles, Nashville, Phoenix, Atlanta, Houston, Charlotte, Denver, Austin, Boston, Toronto, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Vancouver, Montreal, Seattle, Calgary, Indianapolis, Portland, and San Francisco. Many companies in Seattle, including large and small tech firms, are ditching or downsizing their downtown space, and office demand remains a big question, noted a recent report by real estate firm Kidder Matthews. According to Harrell's recent 2023-2024 budget proposal, return to the traditional 5 days in the office seems unlikely for many. Meanwhile, companies are trimming headcount. Amazon, headquartered near downtown Seattle, is cutting at least 2,300 Seattle area jobs and is pulling about 2,000 employees from a downtown office building. Facebook parent Meta, which announced a 13% layoff late last year, said this month is subleasing a 6-story building near downtown Seattle. Here we go. Harrell is thinking about how the urban core can adapt. His ideas include bringing in more arts, music, and culture, improving the built environments such as with Seattle's new waterfront projects, and supporting educational institutions and even daycare centers. He's also thinking out how to best get services to people on the streets and how to leverage the faith-based community. So he's worried about that. But when it comes to reparations, they don't care. Yes, everybody left, it seems. But yes, that's what he cares about, not y'all's reparations. He said this 6 days later. They reported this 6 days later. He said BS, his predecessor ran off all the black artists. I could imagine so. Don't y'all don't have sales tax. Y'all don't have state tax up there, right? I mean, I got to deal with the snow and stuff, but I mean, no sales, no state tax. I mean, that's kind of cool. But this is what I mean, family. This is what I mean. Reparations is very nuanced. Tyler, what did I say? All right, Blueberry Muffin, do your thing. I can't. I gave him a chance. Tyler, take that over to Rumble and get that to Russell Brand and them, and louder with Crowder. Get that to him one time. Right, no state income tax, but state sales tax is 10%. That's a little high. I think New York is like 8.875. Damn. But anyway, hey, Mr. Caledon Free. Let's talk to you, sir. Let's talk to you again. So I just gave you not one, but 2 races of people, because of course, if you go on any application, they have race there. Native American is on there, sir. Asian is on there, sir. So Come back and come tell us how the U.S. government cannot give out reparations based on race. Please tell us this. Please tell us they can't give money based on race. Please tell us. I'd like to know this. Explain this. Hmm. Hmm. By the way, we're going to continue this, sir. Do you understand there's another group doing the same thing that black folks are doing? And I'm sure they'll get what they want because of who they are. That's right, family. Look at what it says on the screen, Tabernacle. Mexican Americans seek atonement for ancestral lands that were taken over generations. America. Here, this is why, again, white supremacy takes both sides of the argument. And one nearly full of his 9 areas of human activity is media. What does this say? America owes us the opportunity to take care of our own communities. Sounds like something we've been saying for years. Stop playing. I'm not even going to read the article. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this. If my mouse will work. I hate this mouse. I'm going to have to get a new one. I'm going to put that in. You mother skunk mouse. I'm going to put that in the live chat. Y'all go read that. So Latinos run around saying that we don't deserve reparations. They created hip hop and all this anti-black stuff, but they run right back. Well, I shouldn't say Latinos. Mexicans run around and say all this. Go protest black folks that are protesting Power 106. Go on their radio shows. Talk about black folks. Talk about how we lazy and all this. Matter of fact, I know they were Dominican, but don't say nothing about what happened up in New York with that young autistic black boy and them 3 Dominicans. Didn't say nothing, but y'all want to claim black and brown coalition anytime a congresswoman or congressman says something, but then y'all come back around. Oh, I also forgot y'all sit in Twitter spaces and on Clubhouse talking about how we're just N-words with the hard ER and we don't deserve nothing, but then come back around and your progeny, I should say, because we don't know if they're prodigies. Your progeny come back around and try to tell us, oh, we're Native American. We need our money, but claim Mexican American. Here we go. UCLA professor suggests America should provide reparations to Latinos. Who wrote it? Somebody named Gomez. Right. Views of reparations for slavery in U.S. vary widely by race. We're going to copy that one. I'm going to let y'all read that. Here we go. NBC News. Latinos must confront ingrained anti-black racism. Hey. Law enforcement today. Look who picked this up. UCLA professor Laura Gomez advocates for reparations for Latinos. Law enforcement today. A cop website picked up her story. If you don't understand white supremacy, everything else you understand will confuse you. Brookings Institute, how we repair white Americans' attitudes towards reparations. You probably had a problem with this, huh, Caledon Free? San Francisco to air black reparations plan, $5 million per person. You probably have a problem with that. Here we go. The conversation. Why Japanese Americans receive reparations and African Americans are still waiting. They wrote this in 2019. Oops. Let me explain something to you guys. Not you guys, because you guys understand. Let me explain something to you, you fools that love to talk like this online because you think you're safe hiding behind the avatar. Don't talk about something you don't understand. People do this research. That's number one. Number two, and I also said this earlier, the information is out there by y'all's white media that y'all swear by. So don't come up here and come online acting like a troll trying to say this, there's no precedent for this, this can't work. How do you give that? Spend time on DuckDuckGo and do some research. Take you about 3 to 4 hours. Just sit down and read articles. The information is there. They purposely tell black folks, y'all can't get reparations because they do no research. Guess what? The U.S. government has all the research. They could pay off reparations tomorrow. They won't do it. You want to know why they won't do it? Because they cannot have a competing economy on their shores, number one. Number two, they also cannot have black people as someone that is not a nation governed by the United Nations, which we'll get into one day. They cannot have a group of people that are not governed by a nation's laws, because technically, once they get reparations, they can opt out of America's laws. A lot of people don't know that. They would honestly, by all estimates, become a top 10 GDP in the world, which means they can undercut the US economy, China, Germany, the UK. They can undercut a lot of people. And they can't have that. Free breather, white media, no such thing. You sure about that? So you came back. Okay, very good. Free breather, we're going to talk to you, sir. We're going to talk to you, sir. Since you want to come in here and troll, you want to come in here. There's no white media. Are you sure about that? Shall I go down the list? Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC. Well, it's technically Comcast now. Disney. Should I go down to Turner? Go ahead and tell me that it's the Jews that run this. Sir, Jews identify as white. Sir, they identify as white. Jewish is a race to them and a religion, but they identify as white. When they go on these applications, they write white. Bet you didn't know that. Guess what? I'm from New York City. I've been around many a Jewish person. They write down white. But go ahead and tell me there's no white media. You should have been here yesterday when I did my show in Israel and showed all the Jewish American businessmen in finance and TV and media and advertising. They were all white. Didn't see not one black person on there. But go ahead and tell us again about $3 Newports. Please go ahead. Tell us about Newports. Guess what? White people smoke more Newports than black folks do. Bet you didn't know that. But fine, you want to come in here and troll. You are now the subject of the ending of this show. Because, again, I gave you grace, the other day when you were in here trolling. I told you to calm down with it. You didn't want to calm down. Okay, these are the consequences you're going to face. Sir, white media is what we're using right now. Yes, Alphabet, after it was Google, yeah, it was owned by white people. I guess you didn't know that. You probably have an iPhone, don't you, sir? That was invented by a white man. You sure about that, sir? You sure about that? Jews aren't white? You sure about that? Because the ones that are very vocal out here, they identify as white and they silence the black ones. Or did you forget about the Kyrie Irving situation? I think you need to go back and revisit that. I'll give you some channels to do that. But I'm going to warn you now. Do not go over there to troll. You will get canceled very badly for people in the chat and the poster and the channel. Go to Torian Range channel. Go to Lisa Cabrera. Go to Professor Black Truth. Go to Jason Black, the Black Authority. Go over there and tell them that the Jews aren't white. Please go over there and do that. Matter of fact, there's other channels on here that, and those are white people that actually show the proof that the Jews are not white, that they are white. I should say, I'm sorry, they are white. Go ahead and tell them that they're wrong. Please go ahead and tell them they're wrong. Matter of fact, you can go, and if they have a live stream, ask them to come on. I love me some white meat roasted well done, but I brine mine so it stays juicy, but it's beautiful. Beautifully roasted chicken is something good. It's something good. Because, sir, once again, I've been around a lot of Jews. They don't mark black on their applications or on the census. Funny. But hey, free breather. Free breather. Free breather. Free breather. Would you like to explain this to me? Because we're on Pew Research. You know, the site that asks people things and they take percentages. What does this say? The majority of U.S. Jews identify as white. Oops. That's them. That's Pew Research people calling them and emailing them and asking them these questions. They could just opt out. They could just opt out. Sir. Blacks are the only group that has their own media. We have our own media, yes, but a lot of it's not independent. We usually have to have somebody non-black finance it. We're not strictly all the way independent. That's what scares them. That's why they shut us down. Because a lot of us can operate without the confines of YouTube. But actually, we off that. No, they don't identify as European, sir. When you do the census over here, they don't ask European until you get down to the subsections. They ask you, your first question is, how do you identify? Trust me, I did the census, and my wife did as well in 2020. We did it. They came around. They didn't even give us the paper. We had to stand in the doorway and do it. Sir, they asked us, how do you identify? Then they ask what your nationality or ethnicity is. Trust and believe, when they asked them Jews said white. You can't say European until you get to the next section. But there you go. They're telling you they identify as white. But again, this is them. This is them. This is them. Would you like to see who owns Pew Research? Would you like to see it? I shall show you who used to own Pew Research. There you go. On first glance, that looks like a white man. He could be European. Who knows? He could even be Jewish. Who knows? Who knows? Now he's passed away. Okay. But there you go. Founding director of the Pew Research Center, director of the Pew Research Center's Global Attitudes Project. He also was, what does this say? He was president of the Gallup organization. They do that too. They do polls too. Hmm. So please come back and tell me about them Jews. Please. That's actually not true, Pac Miller. It's actually not true. Al Jazeera, you would be shocked at who owns Al Jazeera. You would actually be shocked. You would actually be shocked. Now, the Emir of Qatar, yes, he gave them money to start up, but they don't own Qatar don't own it no more. The Arabs don't own that no more. Just like Reuters, they love to say is Russian, but it's owned by two Jewish men who live in London. Now, in 2013, the Qatari government did own it, but they sold it recently. I'm trying to find the site. I'm trying to find it. Oh, come on. I think it should be in this wiki somewhere. Where is it? Damn, it's not in here. So please, the state media, the government owns it. Pac Miller, the government owns it. That's really not theirs. I think the only thing they have media based that they might not own is, well, no, I think WeChat is owned by the government. No, is WeChat owned by the government? I ain't sure, but this is an interesting conversation we're having right now. No, 4chan, not WeChat. 4chan. By the way, if you're not on that, don't go on. Funny thing, 4chan was no 4chan ain't. It's funny that the Chinese people love using 4chan and the races, but it's owned by a white man. Let me look up Weibo. No, what is it? What is it called? The Chinese equivalent to YouTube? What's that one called? I always forget. I always forget that one. Damn it! I forgot the name of it. But anyway, so please, free breather, tell me again how the Jewish people do not identify as white. Please go ahead and tell me that. I'd like to know that. Again, and this will apply to you too as well, sir or ma'am. If you don't know a subject, sit down, be quiet, and learn. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to do that for you. We're going to do that for you. So, yes, family. So we just proved another conservative. TikTok is owned by the Chinese, but that's an independent company. That is owned by a Chinese company, yes. But that's not considered media by YouTube, by American standards. That is not considered media. They do not produce their own content. For you to be considered media, you have to produce your own content. TikTok and all these social media apps are nothing but publishers, which is why they get protection of Section 230, which what Trump was trying to get rid of. Hello, Blacklight Revelations. Al Jazeera is, I believe, still currently owned by the Qatari government, from what I've seen. That's why they always get pissed off when it comes to media in the Far East and the Near East, because, and the Middle East, because it's state run. No, Pat Miller, he was saying we're the only ones that own our own media. And I'm like, we don't own our own media. We are the most independent group of media. We are the group with the most independent media. That is true. But we don't own, you're correct, we don't own our own media. We don't. The last one we owned was BET, and he gave it away to, the white aligned, the white identified Jewish conglomerate over at Viacom. So there you go, fam. This is, again, we're going to let y'all look at the tweet one more time before I get out of here. He said, for starters, reparations violates the Equal Protection Clause. The government can't give money simply based on race. Yet I showed y'all not one, not two, but 3 instances of other races getting money and the legislation on the books. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Pat Miller, BT is the name I haven't heard in a while. Well, Tyler Perry's trying to buy it. So let's see if he can do that. If he buys it, then it'll be the first one. Because I have to get out of here and head to the plantation. Blue Mary Muffet, Black Americans have independent media, but we no longer own our own media. Well, like I said, if Tyler Perry makes it and gets that purchase from Paramount, he'll be the first one in a long while. Blacklight said, the government only attempts to not give Black Americans money based on race. Correct. But anybody else, they can do it. And say sorry. Gregory Calloway, hello, you seem new. We are a lineage now. You guys are a lineage. But yes. So, Mr. Caledon Free, since you didn't show up, that's fine. I did it late. I should have made this show yesterday and sent it to you. But, we got something for you here from everybody here at Beyond Borders Media, K Gravity Beyond, New Black Media, and B1 Society. We have a special saying for you, sir.
There's the proof. Like I said, coons are pretty stupid. They follow their stomach. They're really easy to catch. So don't overthink it. Keep it simple and keep it cheap. That's the way to do it. So thanks for watching, and go catch some coon out there.
That's right. Yes, sir. Do that. whenever you can, family. Do that whenever you can. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in on this impromptu live. This was fun, and hopefully you learned something today. If you did, that's great. If you didn't, just rewind it and do it again. It's a lot of information that I gave in about an hour and 15 minutes, and a lot of platitudes. But also, for those who came in late, we were discussing this tweet from Kaladin Free. He made this, I think, yesterday or the day before, who said, for starters, reparations violates the Equal Protection Clause. The government can't give money simply based on race. Then decided to go into the Constitution, because we all know that the U.S. government really respects the Constitution. We all know this. And by the way, for those also who came in late and didn't hear, this wasn't the initial tweet that sparked this show. That was the tweet that sparked this show, but the initial tweet, he came off the sidelines and said, put me in, coach, and told on himself and outed himself allegedly as an immigrant. Or the progeny of immigrants. They always tell on themselves. What have I said about the American racist family? They have the ability to say something and within 10 seconds own themselves. And he owned himself. But whenever somebody, and we'll just say it like this, if anybody ever tells you that black people do not deserve reparations, please kindly direct them to the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, where the Japanese Americans got $20,000, which equals to $1.6 billion for the entire group. Well, the entire interred. Well, they were interred, so since they were interred, we'll call them a group. They each, 80,000, got $20,000, which equals to $1.6 billion. Point them to that and say there's legislation on the books. Reparations now. We're not going to go that far, Blacklight. We're not going to go that far. We need the coons exposed. We need them exposed. So when this does happen and they try to jump into the party, we be like all these people on Twitter who expose people's old tweets as hypocrisy. And we get them about the paint. But y'all, let me get up out of here. Thank you again for coming through. Take care. Stay safe out there. Oh, let me just play the one clip for those who didn't come in. We started off with this one.
There you have it. Next morning, and I got a pretty nice sized coon in this trap. This is the trap that I set right on the smack dab in the middle of the trail.
There you go. That's right. That's right. And when their fellow black conservatives show up and see them get caught in the trap again, they don't want to help. They be like this. All right, I had enough fun. Let me get up out of here. I had enough fun. All right, y'all. Take care. Stay safe. And y'all know what to do when the agitators of peace come to mess up your existence.